Assalamu alaikum. This is Talk to Farina Najam from Division of Arts and Social Sciences, University of Education, Lower Mall Campus, Lahore. The course title is Advanced Drawing. The course code is Fine 3119. One point perspective. Dear student, this is a practical topic. First of all, I would like to explain about this topic. One point perspective is just one type of linear perspective. It is a mathematical way of creating the illusion of space. It is called one point perspective because there is only one vanishing point, as opposite to 3 and 4 point perspective. One point perspective is a drawing method that shows how things appear to get smaller as they get further away, converging toward a single vanishing point on the horizon line. It's a way of drawing objects upon a flat piece of paper so that they look three-dimensional and realistic. Drawing in one-point perspective is usually appropriate when the subject is viewed front on or when looking directly down something long like a road or railway track. It is popular drawing method with architects and illustrators, especially when drawing room interiors. Rules of perspective, true shapes, vanishing points and horizon lines. In one-point perspective, surfaces that face the viewer appear as their true shape. Without any distortion, they are drawn usually primarily horizontal and vertical lines as illustrated by the diagram. In this one-point perspective photo, surfaces facing the viewer are undistorted and show their true shape. For example, we see the side of the bath window and facing surfaces as ordinary squares and rectangles. Their sides are parallel with the edges of the photograph. Surfaces that travel away from the viewer, on the other hand, converge towards a single vanishing point. This is a point that is located directly in front of the viewer's eyes on a horizon line, also known as an eye-level line. It is possible to draw our photograph to identify vanishing points, horizon lines, and true shapes. Studying the work of famous artists can also help you gain an understanding of one-point perspective, as shown in the example by Van Gogh. Bedroom in Arles by Van Gogh, identifying perspective lines. Surfaces that face the viewer are drawn using their true shape. Surfaces that travel away from the viewer converge towards a single vanishing point. One-point perspective cityscape. A one-point perspective street scenes typically combines repetitive man-made elements with stacked, cut, angular forms. This is a good example of how to draw a road in perspective with basic rectangular blocks modified to create a city scene. This one-point perspective drawing depicts a meticulous landscaped area surrounded by houses. The details and textures of the shrubbery and trees provide a great contrast with the precise linear forms of the buildings. Note also the use of atmospheric perspective, linear lines lighter in the distance and darker in the foreground, helping to create the illusion of depth and space. 1 point perspective by Gustave Cabot. The cityscape by famous French painter Gustave Cabot was completed in 1876. The bridge structure clearly shows how repeating equal spaces have been achieved. One-point perspective drawings are often dry and analytical. Once mastered, however, knowledge of perspective can be used to create rich, expressive, observational drawings, such as the cityscape drawn using black biro pen on brown paper. Circles and curves. The most challenging aspect of perspective is drawing curving or circular forms. These are typically sketched freehand inside squares or rectangles to help get proportions correct. A one-point perspective drawing by Stephen Sip has produced many stunning perspective illustrations. In this example, we see that details and curved edges have been added to simple rectangular block forms to create one-point perspective furniture. Notice how the pattern also conforms to the rules of perspective. A perspective landscape by Van Gogh. Landscapes and perspective scenery abide by the same rules of perspective. Landscape by Van Gogh. The trunk heights disappear towards a vanishing point on the horizon. This O-level art final piece was awarded an A grade. The positioning of the curving forms used throughout the car interior demonstrates a sound understanding of perspective. Drawing a room as one-point perspective can be great practice for those who wish to later pursue interior design, architecture, or for those who are studying design technology at high school. Drawing a kitchen in perspective is another great idea. Kitchens contain a wide variety of forms and often have interesting reflective surfaces. This example contains carefully staged still life items to help complete the scene. Famous example of early one-point perspective. You can see the horizon line, vanishing point, perspective lines.